What's up, YouTube? You're with Drew here at my garage, and this is a 2007 Toyota Prius. This is going to apply to any Prius from 2004 through 2009. This one is all the way up from Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm going to show you guys underneath it, and you are going to be amazed if you live anywhere near where I do, which is Rochester, New York. Usually everything's all rusty, but this car is literally like it's 6 months old underneath. But it still has an exhaust leak, and this is insanely common. So on a Rochester car, unfortunately, most of the time it's too late. This entire thing rusts to the point where it's two pieces. It's happened a million times. But this North Carolina car that's never seen salt, except maybe once or twice on a road trip if they ever drove north, has the same problem. And as you can see, there's this plate, and it's there for potentially reinforcement. I'm not exactly sure, but being that we're working on, a 15-year-old car and there's people that are on a budget, I just wanted to show you guys how to correct this. This assumes that you have at least a grinder, a cutoff wheel, and a grinder. What we're going to do is just cut off that weld there and grind it smooth. It would help if you have a welder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut a piece of pipe in half, fit it over this, and weld it as a patch around this entire side here. And that should hold for longer than a replacement muffler, because this is Toyota's good stainless steel original. The crap that you buy from like Rock Auto or AutoZone is at best aluminized steel, and will last a year or two in a salty climate, and maybe a little bit longer than that in a desert climate, because exhaust, moisture from your exhaust is very acidic and it rusts from the inside out on the crappy stuff, which is why, back in like the 60s, cars needed exhausts constantly, especially in areas like ours, but even in like desert areas. Now that this is high quality stainless, not so much of an issue. If you don't have access to a welder, what you're going to do instead is you're just going to cut a piece of pipe in half, put the entire thing around this, and then use exhaust clamps. So we'll measure at some point in the video and see the outer diameter of this piece of pipe. You'll just get a piece of pipe from the store, slit it in half the long way with that tool, and you can get one of those from Harbor Freight for like 15 bucks. And then you have it. I mean, it's at least $90 for a new muffler. And while, I personally, I have a million accounts and could just order one, I wanted to do this video to show you guys that this can be saved. So again, I'm going to weld mine, but you can cut your donor pipe in half, put it around it like a Band-Aid, and exhaust clamp it, and that will help quite a bit. You might even want to put some like red exhaust RTV in there. You can save it. So stay tuned for the rest. All right, so I cut that weld. Basically what I did is I went down at an angle into it. And you can use that same skinny wheel to grind it smooth, but you might as well get a grinding wheel and use that, or like a flap disc. And then we're just going to do the same thing to this weld here, and this piece will be off. Some of you might actually be able to use this as your donor piece, depending on how rusted out, the rest of your pipe is. All right, now that is nice and flush. Not going to call it smooth because that would be a lie, but it's nice and flush. There and there. That one, of course, was able to grind smooth and not be a hole and not be a mess. But what I'm going to do is actually sand down all of this and start working on putting the donor piece over the top of it. All right, so I got my welding area all clean, which is really important. Again, if you're not welding, of course, you don't have to worry about that. You're just going to get a piece like this. As promised, I told you I'd measure it for you. It is 1.5 inches. Not sure if you can see that. You're just going to have to take my word for it, but the OD is exactly, there you go, 1.5 inches. So if you get a pipe with an ID of 1.5 inches and slit it in half so it's two pieces, obviously you want your seams to be here and here, not over the, over the cut. Again, I would say it wouldn't hurt to take some red high temp RTV and butter the inside of it and use exhaust clamps to put it on. Again, in my case, I am welding, so you'll see that next. All right, there we go. And before you pick on my welds, you should see my welder. It's terrible. It binds up the, it's a MIG, and it binds up the wire and causes me all kinds of grief. Maybe if I get enough subscribers, I will get a new welder. But anyway, it works fine for me. That's definitely a good fix. It's not going to leak, and this will absolutely outlast the rest of the exhaust. So the moral of the story is, yeah, you can get one of these for 90 bucks. It's several hundred for another original Toyota one if you want it to last more than a couple years. This was a free fix. I happen to have the grinder and the welder and the piece of exhaust pipe. If you don't, you could make this a $20 fix with clamps and things like that. At some point you might just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to buy a new one. But I just wanted to show you the reason that these Prius exhausts fail. If they didn't have this thing, which I am never the type to disrespect Toyota, especially any automotive engineer, except, you know, maybe Chevy with their window switches that last 30,000 miles. But anyways, I'm not one to, you know, undermine. This part cost Toyota money. They put it there for a reason. I don't know what that reason is, and I do know, as a fabricator and a hot rod builder and, you know, a technician for a really long time, or a mechanic for a really long time, that whatever this was doing, this is thicker and it's going to do better, and it's not going to, you know, those welds are where it rusted out, right? So these are all new welds on fresh metal that hasn't been welded yet. At some point those are going to rust out, but it's going to take as long as it took this. So by then that might rust out. So point is, this is a good permanent fix. It'll last much longer, depending on the condition of the rest of your muffler. It'll last much longer than an aftermarket, and it is a good solution and should explain to you why this happened in the beginning. So anyways, I'm Drew. I hope this video was informative and helpful. If it is, please give it a thumbs up. That helps the internet and all the algorithms and all that see that you liked it and that it was helpful, and then it helps other people see it, which helps them. So you'd be helping us and other people if you gave it a thumbs up. Of course, only if you liked it. And if you like this kind of content, a lot of Prius content, a lot of JDM content. There's a couple right-hand drive cars there we just imported. That one's been here for a while, but, you know, and hot rod content and fabrication stuff and mechanical quick tips and stuff like that. This channel's for you. Go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications so you can see when I post new videos. So hey, listen, if I could do it, you could do it. Welding's not that tough either. I guess there's a million videos out there on how to do it. I would make one if you guys asked, but again, my welder is beyond crap at this point. The wire speed is erratic, and when it comes to MIG welding, really only your heat and your wire speed, you know, to really simplify it, matter. And if one of them is all over the place, it kind of makes for, you know, welds that aren't perfect like those. Anyways though, point is, if I could do it, you could do it. Remember, like, subscribe, God bless. Take care.